Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. The long-awaited Honkai Star Rail has finally released, so in this video I'll go over a bunch of tips and also some mistakes to avoid as you begin your trailblazing adventure. So I've had the privilege of playing through both the second closed beta and the third closed beta, so hopefully through at least experience alone, I'm able to alleviate some of your early game woes and prepare you for the mid to late game of Honkai Star Rail. I'll be talking about 5 main topics, which are account progression, team building, the gacha and getting more summons, and finally the long term. So after a brief foray through the tutorial where you're materialized from thin air and barraged by a collection of very appealing husbandos and waifus, you'll be able to actually explore the Honkai Star Rail universe. Now, there are a few priorities when it comes to progression and exploration in this game, with the biggest one actually being leveling up your Trailblaze level. So Trailblaze level is basically your account level, and for Genshin Impact players, that is also the adventure rank. Now, you can check your Trailblaze level and get some rewards based on it by talking to this fun little guy Pom Pom, who you will meet shortly into the story. Trailblaze level is incredibly important as a lot of the content in this game is gated behind it, and there are a few main ways to gain Trailblaze level. In order to level up your Trailblaze level, you will need to get Trailblaze experience. Trailblaze experience is obtained many ways, but with the obvious ones being completing the story, completing quests, and collecting various treasure quests. For example, if we look at some of the quests here, we can see here that we will get 250 Trailblaze experience. Now, you can also get Trailblaze experience by doing your dailies as well, where here we can see that every day, just by doing your dailies, you are able to get quite a bit of Trailblaze experience at each of these points. Now, of course, you can get some Trailblaze experience from the Operation Briefing, which is basically just the tutorial for this game. Now, why do you need to level up your Trailblaze level? Well, that is so you can increase your equilibrium. You'll be running into quite a few situations that tell you your equilibrium level isn't high enough. And your equilibrium level will raise your level cap and stuff. So for example, when I click ascend here, in order to ascend to 50 out of 60, so to increase my level cap from 50 to 60, you will need equilibrium level 3. And to get equilibrium level 3, as we can see, we need to first get to Trailblazer level 40 first, and then we can do this upgrade mission. After completing this mission, we'll get not only some rewards, but we'll also be able to raise our level cap past the level 50 level cap to actually level 60. So there are some more ways to gain Trailblaze experience which aren't immediately apparent just from playing through the tutorial. And another one of those ways which is really important is to actually spend your Trailblaze power or your stamina in this game. In order to spend that stamina, you can obviously just do activities that just require you to spend stamina, which is all in this third tab right here. You can do any of these things to spend your Trailblaze power, which will provide you 5 Trailblaze experience per Trailblaze power that you use. So if I spend 20 here, I will get 100 Trailblaze experience. So one of the biggest mistakes that you can make for your progression is you don't want to overcap your stamina. If you're at max stamina or 180 out of 180, you obviously cannot gain any more stamina, and thus that quickly becomes a lot of wasted Trailblaze experience. So you do want to log in once roughly every 18 hours because you get 1 stamina per 6 minutes. So in order to fill up from 0 to 180, it's roughly 18 hours. But let's say hypothetically though that your real life waifu or husbando is getting in the way of you spending more time with your virtual husbandos and waifus, and you have to spend your Trailblaze power really quickly. Well, you can actually convert 40 Trailblaze power into 1 stored Immersifier, and you can store up to 8 of these stored Immersifiers, which will allow you to quickly spend your Trailblaze power as fast as possible, and then you can just log off and then go deal with your real life husbando or waifu or whatever else you are dealing with. Now do keep in mind though that these Immersifiers can only be used in the simulated universe, which is a specific game mode that you will unlock pretty early on in the game. So speaking of IRL waifus versus waifu collector simulator that is this game, I also often forget to check my messages here, which is this little icon. An important message to actually check pretty early on is Pom Pom's message, who will allow you to unlock the Forgotten Hall. And also this will unlock a bunch of other various side quests and stuff. And as we can see, we even got a little bit of bonus Stellar Jade, which is the premium currency in this game. And here we can see that just by talking to this guy Dunn, we now have a new mission, the Winter Soldiers March. Now the next section is going to be about combat and team building. I'm going to try to keep this section short because I do plan to have a much more comprehensive guide on team building later. Anyway, breaking your enemies by smacking them with an element that they're weak to is a very important mechanic in this game. As such, it is actually highly recommended to have a variety of elements with your roster. Now with that being said, some characters, especially for free-to-plays that you can comfortably level, who will provide a lot of value even into the mid to late game, are surprisingly the Trailblazer or your main character. Notably, it is the fire version of the Trailblazer, not the physical version of Trailblazer, and you will unlock the fire version after playing through the story mode for a bit. Now, Trailblazer is an incredible, completely free shielder, and what's notable about her is that she can shield your entire team for very, very little cost. And up next, another character that's highly recommended to level if you do end up getting her is Ting Yun. Ting Yun just is a massive buffer in this game and provides so much value for your team in so many ways, and she will just buff pretty much any DPS character up the wazoo and you will get a lot of value out of her. And besides, she has the best fluffy ears and fluffy tail in this game. And also for most free-to-play players that don't end up getting Bai Lu, who is this character right here, it's highly recommended that you actually level up your Natasha, because Natasha is going to be the only completely free healer that we get as of launch, and besides, she is perhaps one of this game's best waifus, if I do say so myself. Honestly, when it comes to who else you want to invest into, I actually think the game is reasonably balanced to the degree where you probably won't have huge regrets leveling up any particular character that we have on release day. Unsurprisingly, Honkai Star Rail has a good amount of collectible husbandos and waifus, and how do we actually get those husbandos and waifus? By sacrificing our souls to RNGesus in the Gacha system. Now, 5-star characters are of course much more rare to obtain from the Gacha than the 4-star characters. So there are two types of summoning tickets in Honkai Star Rail, with the first one being the standard pass, which is the silver colored one, which can be used in the beginner banner and the standard banner. You can get either the silver Star Rail passes or the gold Star Rail passes for 160 Stellar Jade, aka the premium currency in this game. So my advice for most of you guys that didn't buy Bitcoin a decade ago is to actually spend your Stellar Jade on the golden special Star Rail passes. These are used for featured 5-star characters like Seal, who are limited time characters that won't have a rerun for a very, very long time. So I'm not going to go into all the details about the pity system or the pull rates, but I will put some notes up here which are based on the way that Genshin Impact's gacha works, which I think Honkai Star Rail's gacha is going to be extraordinarily similar to. So feel free to pause the video to take a look at this. Anyway, this is probably the part you've been waiting for, which is a bunch of slightly less obvious ways to get more Stellar Jade and standard banner pulls. So first of all are achievements, which can be found right here. Now these achievements definitely add up over time, and we can see here that I already have a bunch to claim just by playing through the game up to this point. So don't forget to check your achievements in order to get quite a few Stellar Jade. Now the next way to get some Stellar Jades is unlocked after you actually unlock the simulated universe. Now this one is interesting because you actually get a bunch of Stellar Jade by just picking various blessings as well as curios that you haven't picked before. And here we can see that if we click on blessings, we can see here that after I collected 5 different blessings, unlocked 5 different new ones, I managed to get 80 Stellar Jade for that. So you can actually get quite a lot of Stellar Jades by playing through the simulated universe and selecting a bunch of different blessings. Each of these, you're able to collect up to 320 Stellar Jades by collecting all the different blessings. And this also applies for curios, which are things that you also get by playing the simulated universe. Each curio that we unlock, as we can see, provides us with 30 additional Stellar Jade. And what's also great about this is that it is a stamina-free way to actually get more Stellar Jade, but you can actually grind out the different buffs and curios in order to collect some more Stellar Jade. Now the next way to get even more Stellar Jade is by actually doing the Forgotten Hall. The Forgotten Hall is unlocked, I believe, at around Trailblaze level 23 after you talk to Pom Pom through your messages. We can see here that as we collect more stars in each of these things, then we will get 200 Stellar Jade for every 3 stars that we collect. And already, just by playing through what I have so far, I have gotten about 1600 Stellar Jade. Now there's actually another kind of hidden-ish way to get some standard banner pulls, and that is by actually leveling up your characters. We can see here that there is this little exclamation point next to this magnifying glass, and by ascending our character at level 20, this will actually give us a Star Rail pass. And as we can see, my Bailu is at level 50, so we can claim this standard banner pass, and we can claim another one by just ascending her at level 40. So you can get 3 total by ascending at 20, 40, and 60. Now, ascending at 20, in my opinion, is probably worth it from a resource perspective, as it doesn't take much to get a character up to 20, and it doesn't take much to ascend them from 20 to 30. However, ascending them from 40 to 50 in order to get the second standard banner pass, in my opinion, unless you're actually just leveling up that character anyway, this is when it starts to become a little bit less worth it. Still, this is a great way to get a good amount of free standard banner summons, and you can do this at least once for every character that you end up getting. Alright, I just noticed something really important that I figured was worth actually telling you guys, even though it is a bit into the mid-game. But when you guys actually reach this point in the mid-game, this is definitely something you don't want to miss. You can actually salvage 5-star artifacts, which that isn't all that surprising, but let's say we salvage this one, we will get 10 of these materials right here. So with your salvaged artifact bits, you can go to the synthesize menu here, and there's an artifact tab, or sorry, relics. I keep calling them artifacts, relics, you guys know what I mean. But with these relics, you can actually select the slot that you actually want. And in this case, let's say you want some boots. And on top of that, you can do customized synthesis with the self-modeling resin to select the main stat that you want. This is an incredible deterministic way to at least control some of the RNG with your relic farming in Honkai Star Rail. And by the way, you need to be at Trailblaze level 40 for Equilibrium level 3 in order to farm 5-star relics. The next tip is a slightly different one, and it's not really heavily focused on specific game mechanics, but this tip is more focused on account progression as a whole. So many of us know that these systems in Honkai Star Rail are really similar to that of Genshin Impact, and honestly so is the pacing of the game. And I played a lot of Genshin Impact, so yeah, I have some advice for this. Honkai Star Rail is very similar in that being patient will be your best friend. I know the game is shiny, exciting, and it is a lot of fun, but resources like Trailblaze Power and Stellar Jade are intentionally very limited, but at the same time, they actually end up becoming effectively endless. You will always get a steady stream of Trailblaze Power and Stellar Jade just by logging in and playing the game a little bit every day. And really, before you know it, a month has passed or whatever, and you'll have enough resources to actually pull for the character that you want. And you'll also have the resources to level up and power up those characters that you want. So keep this in mind, as if you try to rush the game too much, you might find yourself really close to absolutely murdering your wallet in order to achieve that, but patience will be your wallet's best friend in Honkai Star Rail. So yeah, let me know what you think about these tips for beginners in Honkai Star Rail down in the comments below. And if you have some great tips for your fellow beginners or other players, do leave them down in the comments. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Went to Lose, signing out.